Are we ready?
We are ready.
Welcome,
Welcome. Welcome.
welcome to the Unhinged Bookcast, a podcast hosted by Jess and LJ, who love all things fantasy books. I'm LJ.
And I'm Jess, and we are happy to have you back again.
Whether we're deep diving into thoughts and theories or just riding the vibes, we love discussing our current reads with each other and now with all of you.
We are currently reading Book 2 in the Kindred Curse series by Penn Cole, and tonight we're discussing chapters 31 through the end of Glow of the Everflame. This is episode 5 in our Kindred Curse series.
We'll be finishing out this series and then jumping into another series that we can't wait to tell you all about as soon as we finalize the schedule.
We are taking the book club style approach in our podcast, so if you're reading along with us, this will be spoiler-free for you, as long as you have read through both Spark and Glow, books 1 and 2.
However, if you have already finished this series, please be considerate of us and our fellow readers and refrain from leaving spoilers in the comments.
And as always, these are adult fantasy books, so this is your content warning for the naughty words we use, as well as possible discussion of spicy and violent scenes from the book that may not be suitable for those little ears around you.
We do enjoy these types of conversations, but we will do our best to remind you to cover those sensitive ears beforehand.
Also, a quick reminder that you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram for the days in between episodes.
And please like our YouTube videos if you are enjoying them and subscribe to the channel to get notifications of new episodes on Tuesdays, as well as random bonus episodes throughout the weeks.
As always, we like to break our discussions down into different categories: characters, world building, history and lore, clues and foreshadowing, honorable mentions, and lastly, our thoughts and theories.
Also, we'll be adding to our counters for cries, growling, and jaw ticking, as well as how we rated this book at the end of the episode. Now, let's get this discussion started because we have so much to talk about tonight since we've finished the book. So, buckle up, Buttercup. This is going to be a long one.
Yes. All right. Characters, as always, we will start off with Miss Diem, our FMC. It's always hard for me now that we're into the series to figure out exactly what to say about her
Yeah.
because she's the main character. So of course she has tons of growth and lots of things happen with her. So for this section, for now, I guess the high points are that she definitely had some strong character building moments in this chapter chunk.
Yeah.
Um, she has to take some time to find herself again after her father's death. Her brother Teller really helps her pull her back into reality and kind of reminds her to start fighting again. And she does finally give in to the fact that she does not actually love Henry. Thank the Lord.
Thank you.
Goodness gracious.
About
About
damn
damn
time.
time.
That was awesome.
That was awesome. And then she does also finally stop denying whatever it is that's going on between her and Luther.
Yeah.
And lastly, she learns how to access her magic, and I think that it's pretty cool
Oh,
what
yeah.
happens with her magic. For now, that's all I have. There's so much more about her, but for now, we're just gonna stop there.
Can I just say really quick that, like, by the end of this book, I'm really not liking her that much?
What?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
She's not my favorite female main character, but anyway, we can move on.
I mean, I've read about better, but I'm enjoying her. I think she's pretty damn cool now.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how this goes.
Okay. 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 Luther is next. Another one of those characters that so much happens. There's so many things we could talk about with him, and we will talk about a lot with Luther later on. For now, I think the biggest realization we have about him is that he is also a halvesies.
I was so excited. Like, we knew it, but we
I
didn't know
know.
it.
I think you were the one who called that in the last episode.
I think I called it at the
When
end of
he
the last book.
said, yeah, okay, maybe you're right. Yeah,
Yeah,
when he
like
said you're no
you're
more
no more
mortal than
mortal than
me.
I am, or something like
Yes.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you were like, maybe he's also half mortal. And I'll be honest, I was like, I don't know. But
Yep.
you were right.
I was
Shocker.
right.
Imagine that. Leslie was right.
All
But
right.
yeah, we'll get more into Luther later.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Henry. I mean, same thing, but
Same
he's
thing.
definitely using Diem. He has fallen so deep into the Guardians
Hmm.
cult, and I don't think there's anything left that is good in this boy.
Yeah.
Yep, unfortunately. But Teller, very supportive of Dee and is really taking up some of that Commander Dad characteristic after Commander Dad's death in the last chapter chunk.
I just have to say, Teller is like, I just loved his character in this portion of the book.
I did too. He's super cute, but like
He is.
he's kind of like that, oh, I'm the man of the house now kind of stuff. And it's cute.
It's cute. It's kind of like when your 6-year-old says, I'm the man of the house because dad's
Uh-huh.
not home
Because
now.
dad's not home. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have that
You're
too.
like, okay, bud. Okay, and then we have Lily. Um, we will learn a few new things about her this chapter chunk. One thing is that she does seem to have a keen eye for plants and that she probably would make a really great healer someday. Because she really does have like a true joy for helping other people. That when DM takes her to the healing center,
Yeah.
she just thrives in that environment. The other thing that we learned about Lily is that where DM thought that she would do whatever it takes to make her family happy and keep the peace, Lily kind of sets DM straight at one point and tells her, I'm making my own decisions. No one's forcing me into
Yeah.
marriages or anything like that. And I don't want to be protected. You need to
Yeah.
stop trying to protect me.
Yeah.
So showed a little bit of strength, a little bit of gumption there as well.
Yeah.
And then we have Eamon.
Hmm.
Still don't know how I feel about Eamon. Um, he was appointed all of Luther's titles because Remus strips Luther of his titles and gives them to Eamon.
Yeah.
And I obviously definitely don't trust Eamon because as soon as that happened, I was like, yeah, not good.
But you're still just like left wondering, like,
You
is
are.
there good in him? I don't
I was
know. We'll
more
see.
convinced from the beginning that Henry was bad bad than I am that Eamon is bad bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then we have Taryn.
Yes.
I mean, he's just I love Taryn.
Yes.
He's he is a really awesome wingman for Luther. He's always in
Yes.
his corner. He's also in DM's corner.
He is.
Always
It's
has
true.
a joke. Always has some lighthearted way to try and fix a situation. He's just a cool character.
Yeah. 100%. Eleanor. We got a quick little bit of backstory about her. We learned her parents didn't want to have kids. They had strong magic, but no real influence in the house. So they made a deal with Gareth and Remus that they would have a child in exchange for high ranks in the army. Eleanor was little when they basically handed her over to Remus and Gareth when they left for the army. She basically has no magic or very little of it. And so she was kind of just a disappointment because they expected her to have a lot of magic because her parents had so much magic.
Yeah.
And then in chapter, I think it was like 34, her and Diem make like this cute little like blood pact to be sisters forever since now they have like a little bit of each other's blood. So
Yeah, that was kind of cute.
I thought that was cute. Um, and then Alex, she is appointed to basically the position of military advisor that Diem wanted her dad to be.
Yeah. And then Remus. He no longer has his magic after finishing this
Yeah.
chapter chunk. He lost his magic because of the blood bargain that he made with Diem. And then when Luther challenged Diem, that caused Remus to lose his magic, which I'm not sad about, honestly.
Nope,
It's
I'm
what
not
it
either.
gets.
I'm just glad we got to see that, like the blood bargain that they kept talking about, like actually something happened from it.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um yeah, and we also learned that Remus is a mortal murdering sack of shit. Like
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, I think we're going to talk a little more about why I'm saying that later.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, not a good dude.
Not a good dude.
And then we have Gareth, his brother. Um, just a sketchy ass dude. Like he's always trying to bring DM down. He wants her to fail so he and his brother can continue their reign. He's just not a nice guy.
Oh, he's gonna be a problem.
I agree, he is.
Yeah. So, and then I kind of chunked some of this here, but so from House Hanover, we have Marith, the bitch,
Uh-huh.
that runs the house. Okay. She's the grandma or whatever. And then we
Yep.
have Ileana, who we have already met, but she is also a bitch, but the
Yep.
ex-lover bitch. And then we have her brother Gene, who just acts like a bitch.
Yeah. Just a whole family of them over there.
Uh-huh. And then I should have put her up higher, but I have Mora. She's back and she's supporting Diem. And then she also promises to keep Teller safe should anything happen to Diem during the challenging.
Mhm. Then we have House Burnham. Okay. House Burnham, like, it's ruled by mated twins. Like, they're
Ew.
siblings, right? Am I reading that right?
That's
Because
how I read it.
that was, I think I had to reread that a couple times. Like, hold on a second. They're
That's what I
siblings,
thought.
male
Gross.
and female, and they're mated.
Uh-huh.
Their names are Rix and Raven.
Uh-huh.
Um, House Burnham is known for their pearls and emeralds. They are one of the smaller houses, but they're growing, I guess.
Yeah.
Their son Roderick, which is not their son, he's Raven's son that
With somebody else or something like
Rick's
that.
adopted. They have
Yeah.
a few children that are Ravens that Rick's adopted.
Yep.
So, not full incest, just bleh. Okay.
Just a little
Just
bit.
a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Anywho, their son Roderick is betrothed to Lily. This marriage betrothal was set up by Remus, and it is supposed to be held shortly after the new year.
Yep.
And then we have Ron Gislaine.
Uh,
This is the blonde-haired descended man from the alley in book 1 that Leslie said was going to return, and she was right.
I was. Thank you. Thank
Yep.
you. Hold your applause. Hold your applause.
And he is the one who ends up facing Diem in the challenging, which we're going to talk about later too.
Yep.
And then we have a new little chunk of information here that we haven't done before, but um just a couple new objects or plants that were mentioned that we thought might be important later. So we learn about hawk's flower, star nettle, and sweet blushroom. These herbs are forbidden to mortals. Diem had them planted in the palace gardens and arranged for the clippings to be given to the healer's center. So the mortals are forbidden to plant or grow them, and they're super expensive to buy. So
Mm-hmm.
she started doing that for them. And then the Courbois sword. It's Luther's sword that he always has sheathed at his back. And there's a little comment in there from Remus that the Courbois sword is only supposed to be drawn to defend the House of Courbois.
Yes.
And then we have the flame root, which we knew about already, but we learn more
Yep.
about it in this chapter chunk. So it's a bright red flower that smells smoky and vibrant that is turned into a powder, and it's found only on Kindred Island and can only be harvested with all 9 crowns approval. All right, next up we have our world building section. So, starting things off, chapter 41, there's a change in the arena for the challenging. This is kind of the only newish thing that we learn about in Amerian itself. But they change up the arena and they just like they add obstacles and whatnot to make things more entertaining during the
Make things more
challenging.
entertaining during the
Mm-hmm.
challenging, which
Gave
is
me
just
some like
gross.
major Hunger Game vibes at that
Oh,
point.
yeah, that's a good idea.
Oh, but you
Yeah.
haven't read those or seen those
I
yet.
haven't, but like I get the
But how
gist
would
of
you
it.
not? Yeah,
Yeah.
you'd know things by now.
I
They've been
promise,
out
I
long enough.
promise I will read them. It's on my list for this summer. So
Okay.
I will get them read. But yes, I understand the gist of Hunger Games. I just haven't
Yeah.
read
All right. I know you've got a big section
it.
coming up here. So, what do you have for us, Leslie?
Okay. Okay. So tonight, most of this section, world building, is about the Kindred Island or Coriel. I'm sure I'm not saying that right, and somebody's probably going to correct me, but that's what I'm going to say.
Sounds good.
There is some history and some lore in this part too, but it seemed best to all fit in just this info dump. So here we go. So this island is home to the Kindred Temple. Only the crowns of each of the 9 realms are permitted. Even Diem is not supposed to wander off the path until after she's coronated. The Descended do not have their magic on this island, which during the Blood War made it a prize to be fought over by both mortals and Descended since it would be more of a fair fight. The only time the crowns gather is every year on Forging Day to celebrate the original forging spell and on the occasion of a new crown coronation. This is where the kindred siblings used the forging spell to split Amerian into 9 realms. I believe she said that it was believed to be mortal rumor, but
Mm-hmm.
they believed that the Everflame tree, which is the mortal's tree of life, let's just say, was on this island originally. Then the kindred arrived here from another world. And after anointing themselves as the rulers of this world, they cut the tree down to make room for their temple, made completely out of Godstone, which is described as a black, glittery stone. It is stronger than metal and it is imbued with a toxin to kill descended. No one knows whether the kindred brought it here from their home world or if they created it with their power. And I have more on this later.
Mm-hmm.
So now the temple. Coming up to it, Diem describes feeling the power radiating in what feels like dark magic. Later, she feels the magic as stronger, but she doesn't know if she's the only one who feels it. The temple is a circular platform with a curving staircase up the side. There's archways all around that we find out are these portals, which the fact that they call them portals and not just archways is
Mm-hmm.
interesting. But each of these, there's a portal for each realm. Each archway is topped with tall, thin obelisks, which I can't say that word very well. So it
It's
also it means
obelisks.
podium.
Yeah.
Exactly. And we've already seen how I can't say words very well as it is. So
You're
if I
good.
say podium, that is what I mean. On top of all 9 of these pedestals is a cauldron. Only 8 of the 9 are currently lit with fire while she's there. Under the archway are each realm's emblems etched into the stone floor. Also, each podium has their emblem etched into it, and the emblems glow from within. In the open center, we have a low pedestal that holds up a glossy, smoky, dark. It's so smoky and dark that it appears black. It's a rock that is ever so slightly glowing from within. That seems to be where this dark magic pull is coming from. This is called the Heartstone.
Mm-hmm.
If it is destroyed, the realms shall fall. It can't be hurt by weapons, magic, or even Gryvern fire, and it can't be touched without the risk of losing your hand, they say. The Heartstone acts as a conduit between the kindred's elemental magic and the magic that is in everything, such as the plants, the elements of the world, basically. And they use a short bladed dagger to bleed onto the Heartstone for these ceremonies that are conducted by the Crown of Sophos. This blade has a milky white, or I think they're multiple milky white
Mm-hmm.
gemstones that change color to the crown's eye color, whose blood it's touching. Phew. Okay. That was a lot, but I hoped that I built a better picture for everyone on the place that we never really get much info on until the very end of these books. So hopefully we start here when we get into Heat because I need to start here because the action's here.
I never thought about them being called portals. And
I
that
did instantly.
I am so bad about like the end of the book. I'm like, okay, I'm at the end. And I just read through it and I figure I'll catch the details later. At the next book, I'll pick it up later. And I also have you, so I know you're gonna
You
like
have me. It's
reread
cool.
it
You're
10
fine.
million times and tell me what I missed. So,
Don't worry,
but
I'll
that is
catch it.
very interesting.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna let Jess take over history
Okay.
class for a few minutes here. What do you got, Jess?
Give you a chance to breathe for a second.
Yep, get a drink of water.
Okay, history class. So, starting off chapter 35, we have a portion where Taryn tells Diem that the godhood works off emotions, but she's felt numb and emotionless since her father died. It's interesting how this evolves and changes throughout the rest of the book, though, too.
Yeah,
Um,
100%.
Chapter 36, we get more info about House Ghislaine. It is the smallest house, but it's also the wealthiest because it deals in gold. And it isn't a threat because they've never feud with anyone, interestingly enough. Chapter 38, Alex, which I actually learned her name is pronounced Elix.
That's what you said.
I don't know if I like pronouncing it like that. We're so far into it now, and I keep calling her
We are
Alex.
so committed to Alex, and I like it.
We're gonna keep calling her Alex for all you audiobook people out there. I'm sorry if it's driving you crazy, but
You live.
Alex says they shape their magic to attack into weapons, but when using it to shield, they rely on the raw magic itself. 44, chapter 44, we learn that the Gryverns cannot go onto the Kindred Island. Supposedly, they will die if they even touch the soil. They but also with this, like, we learn how the Gryvern from Fortos died during the Blood War. Supposedly, the rebels had taken over the island and shot a bolt into its wing while it was flying above the island, and it crashed onto the island and died. And so only a bolt, beheading, or godstone to the heart will kill a Gryvern.
Hmm. And it's interesting that they like throw that in there in the book. So I'm like,
Yeah,
which Gryvern is gonna die? And it better
right.
not be Saray, or I will burn this book.
I would not be surprised if she ends up injured at some point. They can't
Probably
kill her.
they can't kill her off. They kill her off. I'm rioting, man. I'm rioting.
Yeah, same. Okay, chapter 44. In this chapter, we also learn Luther's backstory.
About damn time.
I know, there have been so many open-ended comments and little things here and there. So here we go. Luther. He is a halfsy, like we said earlier. He is a half mortal,
Yay.
half descended, just like Diem. His dad was told that his firstborn son, he was told by Lumnos, right? That his firstborn
Yes, I
son,
believe so. Yeah.
yeah,
Or it was
would
a vision or something like that. Yeah.
something like that, right? So he was told that his firstborn son would be the most powerful in the realm. He then ended up having an affair with a mortal named Floriel. Is that what we want to call her? Do you have a better way to say that?
I like it. Floriel.
Okay, Floriel. Because remember, Remus's wife's name is Ivana,
Yep.
and they are together at the point when
Yes.
he has this affair.
Yep.
So Luther's real mom is a mortal named Floriel. Once she became pregnant, he took both Floriel and his wife Ivana to a cabin for a whole year until Luther was born, and then brought him back and played him off as Ivana's.
Mhm.
Remus had Floriel put into a mental institution then in Sophos,
Yeah.
to keep her
And that
quiet.
was, yeah, like, but also like for deniability that if she
Right.
ever came out, they'd be like, oh, she's just
She's just
crazy.
crazy.
Yeah.
She doesn't know what she's talking about.
Hmm.
But eventually she breaks out and comes to find Luther. When Remus finds her with Luther, he uses a bolt of his power to strike and kill her, but Luther intervenes and jumps in front of his mother, and he was young. Excuse me, he was pretty young at this point.
Yeah.
Hence the scar.
Yep.
He didn't have his healing abilities yet. So Remus then ends up killing his mother.
Yep.
Lumnos, however, actually saves Luther
Yep.
and tells him that he will one day serve a gray-eyed queen. He also mentions that in the original vision that they shared the night of the armory attack that him and Diem shared, that in the vision she was wearing a crown, but not the crown of Lumnos, and he's never seen it before or again after.
So, time for clues and foreshadowing. Even with that thought right there, we probably should have put that one
We
also clues and
probably should have.
foreshadowing. So, that's a good pull in here. So, here we talk about all the big and little things that we think could lead to more in the future or characters in the story as a whole.
Starting things off in chapter 31. So Diem gives Teller the blade from Fortos, the spider silk scarf from Igneos, and the cure-all potion from Arboros. He hands the blade back because he's not allowed to have weapons at school, but he takes the rest. So she gives him all those things like before he leaves for school because
Yep.
she's afraid that he's gonna get
Yeah, because this is
attacked.
right. This was a couple days after, or a couple weeks, I can't remember, after dad died,
Right,
and they
right
were
after
finally
Dad
going
died.
back to school. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then chapter 31 again. Marth from House Hannah talked with Everin Bennett and also wants all the mortals exiled by the end of the year. And she wants this bargain made and sealed with a bonded bargain right then and there, that day.
Mm-hmm.
She isn't asking, she's demanding that it happens. And if it does not happen, Jean is going to challenge her at
Yep.
the challenging. Obviously, at the challenging, he does challenge her, but it leaves me a little sus if the
Uh-huh.
houses will also start war with the mortals since she won't kick them out.
Yep. I think so too.
And then I also like this, obviously, still in the same chapter, DM's response to Marth when she makes this demand of her that she have a bonded bargain, kick all of the mortals out.
Yeah.
DM says to her, quote, "Here is my counter offer to you. If you want a bonded bargain, I'll give you one. I will swear to rule fairly and compassionately for all my subjects. I will promise to never sell my justice to the highest bidder. I will ensure that not a soul in my realm goes without a roof over their heads, a meal on their table, or the medicine to cure their ills. I will protect the vulnerable and strike down the evil. I will do whatever it takes to protect this realm from its enemies abroad." My eyes swept over the Hanovir contingent and from its enemies within. And I will vow on my magic and on everything I hold dear that I will never, ever value my own life above the lives of my people, mortal or descended. Those are my terms, Marth. That is the only kind of queen I will ever be. And if that answer isn't good enough for House Hanavir, my gaze flicked to Jean, then I'll see you in the arena. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
damn, girl.
Get it, girl. I would say new
He's
thesis
on it
statement.
now. Yeah, definitely a thesis statement. For
New
sure.
thesis statement.
Yeah. All right. And then again, chapter 31. I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, this is after House Hanavir leaves. She's done with the
Yeah,
house stuff for the day.
I think so.
Gareth's being a pain in the ass,
Uh-huh.
like
As
normal.
always.
Yep. And she says, "Gareth, if I were you, I'd start putting that sharp tongue to work on persuading the other houses. If I die, the next crown might be another mortal loving half breed who likes you even less than I do." Which I thought was hilarious because she doesn't know what she's saying at the time because she doesn't know Luther's history yet.
Uh-huh.
But if she
Uh-huh.
dies, they've made it pretty clear that he would be the one that would take her place. And that's exactly
Uh-huh.
what he is, a
Uh-huh.
mortal loving half breed who really hates Gareth. So that made me
Even less
chuckle.
than she does.
Yep.
Yep. So I have chapter 32. They have a funeral for Commander Dad, and Gavert
Hmm.
is Dad's army buddy. And he's talking with DM about, well, just kind of all the army buddies in general are talking about how the rebel strikes are getting worse, destroying half the ports in Maros, causing Maros to consider closing its borders to mortals.
Hmm.
And a quick side note, she notices all the black rocks or stones that are among the ashes of her burnt down house.
Yeah, they just kind of like threw that in there really fast.
Yeah, we
Quick
have more
little
on that.
blip. Hmm.
Also in chapter 32, also at the funeral, Henry shows up to crash a fucking funeral with Vance of
Hmm.
all fucking people. And they want the flame root. Okay. Quote, "What about the flame root? You promised to get us some." And in response, DM says, "Is that all I am to you now? A resource to exploit as much as you can before I die?" Yes, bitch. Yes. That is what we have been
Right?
saying. Now dump his damn ass and let's go. But no, she tells him that she will get him in to see the royal boat to make up for it, which obviously later bites her in the ass and she lets him in and it just causes more fucking problems. This part
See?
made me so mad. It's not even
Oh,
funny.
she drives me crazy. I really do like her
Insane.
character, but she has got to learn to like pause for 3 seconds before she talks.
And maybe that's just why like her character is on my ever loving
Yeah, I
nerves.
can understand where you're coming from because
She's well, even Taryn
mm,
calls her out later. Like I don't think we have it yet, or I don't think we've talked about it yet, but we're gonna talk about it about how Taryn calls her out on her fucking bullshit.
he does.
And me too, girl, me too. Like I feel this way.
The word vomit when she's in panic mode and the like just
Pisses me
trying to
off.
make peace.
She's trying to
Oh,
make peace with Henry, and there's no need for it.
No is a full sentence.
But
She
yes,
needs to
he
learn that.
yes, you're just a resource to him. So
Right.
move on.
Okay.
Oh
Still in chapter 32. She's talking with Henry's dad,
yeah.
and he says to her, "You've always brought out the goodness in my boy's soul. I prayed his love for you would give him a greater purpose. Without you, I confess I fear what he might become." DM then replies saying, "I'm sure he'll be fine. Henry's a good man." And then his dad says, "Even good men can lose their way."
Yeah.
So, yeah, I put this
Yeah.
in clues and foreshadowing because I think we all see it already, but
Yeah.
just another like foreshadowing of what's to come for Henry. He's
Yeah.
gonna lose his way even more.
He's done lost the map at this point, but
Oh
sure.
yeah, for sure. For
I
sure.
don't know that he had a map.
Right?
He doesn't know where he's going. He's just going. He's
Yes.
just following his little guardian tree club buddies
His,
around
yep,
and hoping for the
following his
best.
heart. Oh boy.
Oh man.
All right, chapter 33. DM is showing Vance and Henry the boat. God, I
Hmm.
hated this chapter.
Oh, I was so
Um,
pissed off.
they want to borrow it to take people and supplies somewhere because the boat won't be stopped or searched. And when running away from the guards, so like the guards come in and they're starting, like they realize that they're being followed by the guards.
Or yeah, or the guards know that somebody's in there.
Yeah, so they start running away from the guards, and she shows them the fucking blood block and the
Oh
little
my
secret passage to
God.
get out of the
Yes.
palace and into the palace.
Uh-huh.
She does warn them that it will only work with her blood and not to try it, but
Yep.
anyways. They run away from her, and she's yelling at them to come back, come back, come back, because on the way into the palace, she blindfolded them. So they couldn't see
Oh
what was
yeah, that's
going on
right.
and where they were going. And then they realize, like, if they come back, she's going to blindfold them again, and they're not going to get all the information that they really want. So they just take off running,
Yep.
and they're running away from her. And she's yelling at them to come back, and Henry turns around, and he almost turns around and goes back to her. And then he chooses to follow Vance instead. That right
Yep.
there, like, if that is not a sign to dump his ass, girl, come on.
I'm just saying, I would have found a way to trip him and he would have been face first in the
God
mud, but
dang
that's just
it.
me. He would have been living in the dungeon.
Yeah. Chapter 34. While arguing after the weird mated twins leave, Remus says that he knows she can't use her magic because there's spies in the dungeon. And he
Uh-huh.
makes it seem like maybe he's one of them.
Kind
And
of, yeah.
then, yeah. And then Luther boldly states, and then this is never revisited again. And I am fuming about it. Luther says, "Are you so certain the Blessed Mother will select another Courbois if you slay two of her chosen in a row?" Like, did he kill the king?
Oh my God, I
What
know.
the heck?
That's what I think it means. And then it's just like we don't come back to it. And I'm so pissed off. It's not even funny.
No kidding. Yeah, I.
But
Ugh.
it does make sense that him and Gareth would try to slowly kill the king and get
It
their own
does.
agendas in order while they had the power.
Yeah, it does definitely make sense.
Yep.
Chapter 36. Remus has stripped Luther of all of his titles and made Aemon the High General and the Keeper of the Laws and on and on and on and all of the other titles that Luther held.
Yep.
Which is really not good. Just not good. Chapter 37. She's using the compass to go where her heart desires most, and it takes her to her old house, or the burn site now of where her old house was. And so she notices that all of the black rocks or pebbles have been picked up and cleared away. And also, Luther's sword is there, and then she ends up taking Luther's sword.
Uh-huh.
And I will say that when she used the compass, I thought that it was going to take her to Luther, because I'm the romantic over
I
here.
I thought it was going to take her to the island. And
You know,
remember, like she kept
for a
hearing the
brief moment,
voice
I thought
saying,
that
like,
too.
come to us or something like that. I can't remember exactly what the quote is,
Yeah,
but
she finally heard the voice where it says, "Come, daughter of the forgotten."
and it's pointing like then it's pointing to the island.
Yeah, I had a whole giant quote on that and I was not prepared enough to throw it in here, but
You know what? It's cool. We can just keep going.
yeah, I totally thought it was gonna take her to the island. And then she
Did
says that she feels like this whole push-pull, like this pull from the island. Something feels familiar and this pull. And then all of a sudden, the voice has been silent for weeks and weeks and weeks, and she's been begging it to answer her. And then it's
Yeah,
just all of a sudden says, "Come to me, father or daughter of the forgotten." And that's
yeah.
it. And then
And
Saray veers to the west or whatever and takes her to her family's house,
yep, exactly.
or
And
where it
that's when
used to
like
be.
that, yeah, compass just like spinning or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then in chapter 37, she asks the magic 8 ball from
Yes.
Sophos, right? Sophos? I think that was from Sophos.
I think so.
If her mom is still alive, which says yes, which we already knew that that was true.
We already knew that. Yep.
Yeah. But then she asks if her sire, the man who actually sired her, is still alive. And it also says yes. Which I
Yeah.
think we kind of knew that too because the Umbros Queen mentioned to her that her father is
Was
waiting for
waiting for
her.
her. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And now she knows. So.
Yep. So, chapter 38, she's all dolled up to go to this lunch the day before the challenging. And first, they have to go to the dungeon to train. And Shadow Daddy Luther is there hiding in
Mhm.
the corners. And they make up again after she's told him again that he is nothing. But they make up and he gives her Henry's letter, okay, which says, quote, "Good luck tomorrow. I'll see you soon. Remember, whatever it may look like, we are on the same side. Dot, dot, dot." She just
Goodness.
pockets it like a piece of junk mail. And
That's
like
because that's
this,
what it is.
this, no, it's not. Are you kidding me? This is a huge freaking clue. And we can argue about this here in a minute. This is so
Okay.
huge. It's not even funny. And I'm just, yeah, just pockets it like it's junk mail. And I am pissed. Okay. But you think it is junk mail. And
No,
now
I'm
I'm,
curious. Why do you think that it's so important?
okay.
Or are we going to get
So
to this in thoughts and theories? Am I stealing your thunder?
I didn't put it in thoughts and theories,
All right,
but
tell me, what's your thoughts here?
I know we're going to talk about the epilogue here in a little bit. So maybe
Yeah.
we'll get into it when we talk about the epilogue. So just remind me. Okay. I'll
Okay.
see you again soon. Remember, whatever it may look like, we are on the same side. That's what it says.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. You go on into your note and we'll come back to this apparently in the epilogue because you think it's junk mail and I don't.
Okay, so we're going to come back.
Yes, we will come back to this
Okay,
discussion
so
and
I'm
we can
moving
have an
forward
argument
now.
later. Yes, we can argue about this later.
Sounds good. Okay. Also, I did have one more quick thought before we obviously had different opinions here on
Yeah.
that. Um, the whole like little pissing match that her and Luther are in right now
Yes.
before this little makeup.
Uh-huh.
Oh, irritates me so much. It
Oh,
reminds
me
me so
too.
much of another series that we read recently and another FMC who has trust issues because
Yeah.
he won't tell her all of his secrets, and I'm over it. I was so over their little
I'm so over her
thing
just
about
back
that.
and forth about it. It's just so and it's another like knock on the negative for DM for me. Like
Yeah. She definitely did a lot of things in this chapter chunk that were very irritating. I will agree with you on that.
yeah.
I don't hate her now that we finished it, but she was
Okay,
driving me
whatever.
crazy.
Okay.
All right, chapter 38. So, after she is able to make a shield, she makes Alex a loyal advisor for all matters related to the defense of the realm and all its people. And then, chapter 39, she's visiting Mora and she tells us that Lana, which is the healer that she used to work with, but she's also a guardian member, is off in Arboros, possibly on a mission. I don't know.
On a mission. Dot dot
Yep. Dot dot
dot.
dot.
And then the next one, go into that one.
Yeah, so then she is on the same trip. She goes to break up with Henry,
Mhm.
and she only is able to see his dad because Henry is also in Arboros for a quote large delivery. slash hashtag
mission.
mission.
Hashtag mission. I love it. I love it. At least we're on the same page with this one.
Yeah, totally.
And then there's like another one later, but yeah.
There is, yep. And
Uh-huh.
then chapter 40,
Okay, hold
challenge.
on.
Okay,
So
okay.
remember this mission for junk mail, missions. Just remember this. Okay.
Okay, I'll remember it. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, chapter 40, it's challenge day, and she's able to calm the gray horse that she's given to ride,
Uh-huh.
and she asks its permission to ride it. And then Luther's black horse comes out, and she's like, hold on, where's your white horse? Because he was riding a white horse when he came to the cabin to get her that night when she
Uh-huh.
was initially crowned. She's
That
like,
was also the
where's
same horse she's
right?
seen, or that
That
supposedly
Henry
Henry's
saw.
seen. Yep.
Mm-hmm. The horse that Henry saw run down the little boy in the middle of the street and then just like roll his eyes basically and ride off. And so the rider is who did that, just kind of rolled his eyes and walked off. But he's on this
Yep.
white horse. Anyway, so she says to Luther, where's your white horse? And he goes, oh, that's Eamon's horse. And he only used it to come get her from the cabin because he was in a hurry and his horse had thrown a shoe.
Uh-huh.
So now
Uh-huh.
we know that Eamon was the one who Henry saw run down the boy. Because when Eamon and Luther were having that argument, it was the two of them having the argument. And when Henry first comes to the palace and Luther finds him in the mailroom and then she's bringing him through the palace, they go by the door that's kind of cracked open where Luther and Eamon are arguing. And Henry stops and says, that's the guy who ran down the little boy. And she assumes he's talking about Luther because he was riding the horse that night. It was
Mm-hmm.
Eamon. It was Eamon.
And now we know.
And now we know. Now we know.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Chapter 41. So we're going to switch gears a little bit here.
Yep, let's switch.
So we are at the challenging. She
Mhm.
is not sure what to do. Chaos is ensuing in her head. She closes her eyes to kind of quiet the darkness and really just like confront the darkness in her mind at the moment. And then there's a quote here that says from her, light and dark, the two sides of Luminosa's magic, both misunderstood, for although we often ran from the shadowy unknown toward the clarity of day, the light could blister and burn just as the dark could shield and soothe. It was the meeting of the two, the dusk and the dawn, where peace was truly at its height. And that's kind of what she found in her mind when she tried to like close her eyes and take a breath and calm herself.
Yep.
Chapter 42, we find out that Jean told all the houses to challenge Diem, which has never been
Yep.
done ever in history.
Yep.
And then
Little bitch.
again, I know.
Sorry.
He really no, you're right. You're right. That was warranted.
A bitch
He really
move.
is. Yes.
We might have to cut that up, but that was funny.
It's okay. Or not.
Or not. Also, chapter 42. Tell us
Also,
about
chapter
it.
42, Luther is freaking out, and because Diem has already chosen that she's going to choose Ron,
Yep.
and Luther's freaking out, and he is trying to convince Teller to help change Diem's mind. Nothing Luther's doing is working, so he's like, "You try, change your mind," and so Luther says to Teller, he says, "quote Teller, you have to make her change her mind." Teller squinted at Luther, studying him with a puzzled look. Suddenly, his eyes went wide, some inner light clicking to life, and Luther nodded silently. I'm kind of back on my kick again that Luther can maybe mind speak a little bit. I don't
Okay.
know. I don't know. I might be off on that one, but
You
anyways,
could be right. You could
it
be
could
right.
be right.
Like I told you, if it's not out in the open, I hate it. So,
Oh, I love it.
but I think it could be like Teller all of a sudden realizes what
He
Luther's
could
gonna
be.
do.
It could be. Like he just kind of he's a pretty smart kid, so he may
Yeah.
have just realized it, but
Who
I'm
knows?
gonna
Or Luther
hope
could have
that
mouthed them like, hey, this is what I'm gonna do,
true,
bro. Don't say nothing.
dude.
Play it cool, dude. Play it cool. Be the cool little future brother-in-law and just play it cool, okay?
Yeah.
Let me have this win, bro.
Right?
Man speak. Man stuff.
Not mind speak, it's man speak.
It's not mind speak, it's man speak. Grunts and farts and
Oh God.
okay.
Okay.
Chapter 45.
Chapter 45. We learn from the King of Fortos that Breck disappeared a few days before the coronation and took a large amount of weapons with him.
Also
Also
on
on a
a
mission,
mission.
like right around the same time that Lana and Henry take off for their own individual
On a
reasons.
mission after a very
Yep.
coded junk mail, apparently.
Yeah, I definitely did not see that as coded junk. Anywho, I
Okay.
can't wait to hear what you have to say on that later. All
We'll
right,
argue about it.
you go ahead and go next here.
Yeah, we must have jumped just a little bit because obviously 45 should have been further down, but back to the
Oh, yeah,
challenging.
whoops.
Yeah, we messed up on that one, but no big deal. So back at the challenging on chapter 43, we get the vision again. And I won't read this whole thing, but we get a little bit more into this vision this time. So, quote, nighttime in the midst of war, dark glittering armor, her blade of black and gold, Luther's blood-soaked sword of corvée. Then a man glowed across the field, bright as the moon, described as gray or colorless. He says, quote, join me, daughter of the forgotten. We will end the descended and their rule forever. Then all around her, a wall of silver flames began to rise. Then she's here. Then she hears the original voice that says, now, daughter of the forgotten, now you are ready. I'm loving getting more and more of this vision, and I
Mhm.
can't wait to get past all this royal drama bullshit and get into hopefully all of this war and gore and kick and some assery. And I have a theory of who this man is, and I have it
Oh,
in my thoughts and theories. So don't you worry. After our argument here
okay.
in a few minutes, thoughts and theories are coming for you, baby.
I didn't even give two thoughts to who this guy was. I was like, okay, he's gray, so there's got to be something there. And
What?
then, okay, so chapter 44, in the very beginning of it, we find out that she does finally make Luther an advisor.
About damn time.
It is about damn time. Okay, continuing into chapter 44, she is on the Kindred Island for the coronation, and she's speaking to the King of Fortos. She asks him, first she thanks him. Things are a little tense between the two of them, so she's like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm trying to make this better. She's like, thank you so much for the blade that you gave me um, at the ball, and then she's asking if the blade he sent her at the ball was made by Breck Holdren,
Uh-huh.
the guy that still owes her a favor, if we all remember that. Or
Mm-hmm.
that she owes a favor to.
Yeah, she owes a favor to him
Yes.
for the blade. Yeah.
Yep. And he the king is like, "How do you know him?" And then
Mm-hmm.
she says that he's a family friend, that he worked with her parents. And then he says that's impossible because Breck joined the army after her parents left, after mother
Uh-huh.
left the army.
Uh-huh. So they shouldn't know
And
each other.
yeah, they shouldn't know each other. Yeah, so
Uh-huh.
Breck was lying through his teeth. And also he tells her that Breck has gone missing with an important stash of weapons earlier in the week, which we talked about earlier. But yeah,
Also a
also on a
mission.
mission again. Um,
Okay. So can I also point out that he said that Orally left, not disappeared like everybody else does?
mm,
Uh-huh. You can
mm.
continue. I just
I
wanted to
didn't
put
catch
that in there.
that. Okay, no, I didn't catch that.
Don't worry,
You're
I'll bring it
right.
back up later. Don't
Cool,
worry, I'll bring it back up
cool.
later.
I feel like I should just skip thoughts and theories and just let Leslie talk at that point because I got pretty much nothing. Okay, chapter 45. So we find out that the Umbros Queen was not at the Forging Day ritual. She did, however, send a vial of blood, which is
Of
very
course she
thoughtful
did.
of her.
So thoughtful.
Um, but the reason she wasn't there was because she was with Diem in the alley. in chapter 1 of book 1.
Uh-huh. And then also chapter 45, the king of Montios enters the stage but is having trouble. So Dee goes in to assist him. He isn't speaking, but he is overly shocked and excited by her appearance, her eyes, her hair.
Mm-hmm.
And then he pulls on her forearm and he like pulls it into the light and is turning it to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
He's almost disappointed by this, right? And then he looks up to her crown.
Yep.
Okay. And then it's also his frown deepens. What the fuck does he know? And then
Yeah.
as she's walking away, he says, mind you, he doesn't talk to
Right.
people outside of his realm. He says, good luck, daughter of the forgotten.
Yep.
Bomb drop.
Okay. Also, chapter 45, the Fortos King says, speaking of the safety of the Heartstone, he says, it's safe here. No one gets on or off the island without my knowledge. But the Umbros Queen kind of chuckles at this when he says it. She's,
Mhm.
I don't know, I kind of like her.
Kind of like her too. She's
Yeah.
like just giving off badass like this entire time. She's just watching DM. That's like all she's doing
She's got her own thing going on.
with a
Nobody knows
slight little
what's
chuckle. And
up.
like she's calm the entire
Mm-hmm.
time through like all the madness that happens. But
Yeah.
okay, we'll keep going.
Okay.
We'll keep going.
And then chapter 45, so DM drops her drop of blood onto the Heartstone.
Mhm.
And clouds instantly form in the sky, like blocking out the sun's lights, really ominous and eerie.
Uh-huh. And Sophos is looking at the milky white stones on the blade,
Mm-hmm.
and they are smoky gray. And Sophos says blue. The stones should be blue.
Yeah, they all kind of start freaking out, and then
Mhm.
all of the fires of the nine realms go out. And then she accidentally spills more of her blood onto the Heartstone in all the chaos, and lightning cracks down out of the sky and into the Heartstone and cracks it. This supposedly indestructible thing, item, object,
Mhm.
whatever, is cracked straight down the middle from her blood.
Jess, now take us back, please.
Yep,
Take us
yep.
back.
Okay, so book 1, chapter 29, when King Ulthar is dying and him and Diem are having their last little weird moment.
Weird conversation. Yep.
Yep. He says, quote, "You finally come. They told me you would come for me. They told me your blood would shatter our stone and lay waste to our borders. I am not afraid, devourer of crowns, ravager of realms, herald of vengeance." Then, chapter 1 of book 1, she's in the alley with the old lady on Forging Day, which we now know to be the Queen of Umbros. And the Queen of Umbros says to Diem, quote, "When forgotten blood on Heartstone falls, then shall the chains be broke. Life for life old debt requires, or eternal be his yoke." I knew that was going to come back
Mhm.
into play.
Boom. Boom.
As soon
Boom.
as they
Boom.
said Heartstone, that thing in the middle of the temple is Heartstone, I was like,
Oh,
oh
we were
shit.
freaking out, both of us. Like I
Yes.
already knew. Like I was waiting for you to catch up this time. Like normally you're waiting for me to catch up, and I was just
Yeah.
like, "Hey, how you doing? How you doing on the reading? Just checking. Just checking. How you doing? Just checking in
It
still."
was so much like stuff and like just random, not random, it was just so much, I don't
So much
know,
info dump.
so much info dump, so much somewhat not important stuff. And then all of a sudden, the last couple chapters is like,
It's like, psh,
OMG.
here's
Yeah.
all of it, but not that much. It's just
And
here's
a
all of this to
major
stew
cliffhanger.
on. Yeah,
Yeah.
stew on until the next book. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
All right. So before we
Okay.
get too much further into this, let's get into our honorable mentions category. Our quotes are events from this chapter chunk that stood out to us, but we weren't sure where to categorize them. And then we'll also talk about the epilogue a little bit at the end of this.
Yeah. What starting us off in chapter 31. Um, so Diem says, and I don't remember who she's speaking to in this little portion, but
Um,
one way or another doesn't quite matter. It's an important little quote. So she says,
yeah.
quote, "My loyalty is not to House Courbois, not to the 20 houses or the Descended, or even to the goddess Luminos herself, My loyalty is to the people who need my protection, those who feel entitled to, not those who feel entitled to it. I will bring justice to this realm, even if it costs me my life.
Chapter 32. All the descended at the funeral show up in black clothes. And I thought that was really cute.
I thought that was kind of cute. Yeah, that was nice of them.
So I am so there with Taryn in chapter 33 when Taryn says to DM, so you give fair chances to the people who use you while you punish the ones who actually care. Correct, good sir. She continually forgives
Mm-hmm.
Henry for everything and then reams Luther for honestly shit that's out of his control.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And then in chapter 34, we have a Taryn and he gives us a I'll protect her with my life best guy friend moment. And now I'm scared for
I was
him.
gonna
And that's
say,
all I'm going to say.
yeah, I had the same thought.
It has been my honor.
Ah, Leslie.
I'm so sorry. Okay. Okay, so chapter 35, DM says, it's a beautiful day to save some lives. Okay, Derek from Grey's Anatomy. I don't know who else watched that, but I
Oh my
binged it
gosh.
like a couple years ago.
I
I watched every single episode
yeah,
and every season.
I watched a ton of that when I was pregnant with my first son. Okay, we are still in chapter 35, and Taryn says, when are you and Luther gonna put all of us out of our misery and fuck each other already?
I'm so
Like,
sorry.
no, same dude, same.
I know.
I've been wondering this since book one.
It's about damn time.
How are we at the end of book two and it still hasn't happened?
Still nothing yet. Don't worry. You still have, what is it, 1,026 pages coming up
Uh,
in heat that maybe
okay,
we'll get a
actually,
little bit of heat.
there is, I guess, like a bonus chapter about what happens after the victory dinner, after the challenging,
Oh, yeah.
With her
When
and Luther.
he,
So, because she does like briefly mention that there was a
yeah, she's like,
steamy
that.
night between the two
No,
of
she doesn't say there's a steamy
them.
night. All she
What'd she
says
say?
is that Luther brought her back to her room drunk and put her to bed. And she said, don't leave. And then the next morning, he's asleep in the bed.
Okay, well, apparently there's a bonus chapter about what actually
Oh,
happened.
really? Oh, we got to
Hmm
go find the bonus chapter and
She
read it.
says that at the end of this book in like the acknowledgments.
Oh, yeah. I think
So
I seen that. So does that mean, so did they hook up?
I'm assuming so. I'm gonna go find the chapter and read it.
Okay,
Absolutely, I'm
we
finding
will
that
we
chapter.
will report back after we read this when this episode airs. We will report back and it
Yes,
will be
we
so
will.
watch out for Facebook and Instagram stories. We will
Yes.
report back. Yep, now that Leslie's blushing so hard. Um let's get into the back and forth of the you kissed Luther and you kissed Lily in chapter 41 while she's possibly walking to her death.
Oh my goodness. My youngest brother, this scene reminded me so much of my youngest brother because he would do that. He
Well,
would
you
so do
kissed
that to
Luther.
me.
Well, you
Yep.
kissed Lily. All right. And then I also have chapter 41. She's praying to Lumnos. Let's be honest, we've never been great friends, you and I. I'm pretty sure you and your siblings are sitting up there laughing your heads off at my expense. But I do believe in Luther, and he believes in you. He thinks you want me to bring peace between the mortals and the descended. I don't know if you've got the right girl, but I'm willing to give it my best shot. If that's truly your will, then give me a sign. Let me leave here without a and then she
Mm-hmm.
gets called out to a challenge, which
Ugh, the
this
open
part was
recon
just
is so
funny, like a
irritating.
give me a sign.
Yeah.
but from none other than the man in the sienna coat, because you didn't know what color sienna was
I did not.
from the beginning of the book. Welcome back, Mr. Ron Ghislaine, you murdering bag of shit.
You called it.
I did.
You called it. And I was
I
honestly
knew it.
like, why did she think he's gonna come back? I didn't really think he was gonna come back, but he did.
Yeah.
All right, so ending out chapter 41, every single house has challenged. The first time in history that this has
Yes.
ever happened, as well as the unhoused.
Yes.
And then Luther challenges her to he does it to break the bonded bargain with Remus, but he also does it to protect her.
Yeah, because he has a plan that like he'll make it. What did he say? I'll make my magic look like you did it, or
Yeah.
something like that.
He's
Because he's
basically going to commit suicide, but make it look like she killed him
yeah,
so she can keep the reign.
yep, exactly.
All right, and then in chapter 42. So she's talking with Teller, and he's trying to convince her not to fight Ron, to pick somebody else. He's like, there's nothing you're going to gain from this. He's from one of the weaker houses, and he's really strong magic, but he's also from one of the weaker houses. So it's nothing good is going to come from this. It makes no sense. She says, quote, I scrubbed my hand down my face and sighed. He killed a mother and child in Mortal City, Tell. I witnessed it myself. Teller hung his head. His shoulders sagged. He knew me too well. My path was set. If my worthiness was to be judged by my choice of opponent, then let this decision be a reflection of my soul, because I would not kill the weak merely because it was easy, nor kill the cruel because it was gratifying. I would kill only the guilty, and only when justice allowed for nothing less. The descendant might never know my true reasoning, but so be it. They had already deemed me unworthy. I would hold myself to a higher standard.
Mhm.
That I loved.
I did too. That was pretty good.
And then, chapter 42, after her little talk with Teller, Diem and Luther have a very nice heart to heart in the tent before the challenge starts. And she ends up telling him that she belongs to him, scars and all. Again, loved that part.
So are they like finally done with their on again, off again, whatever
Yeah,
that
the
was?
little pissing match I think is over
I
for
think
now.
God, because I'm
No
over
kidding.
it.
Me too. That irritated me so bad.
Yeah. All right. So out of the sappy stuff and into chapter 43. Diem is walking up to Ron while he's throwing all his so this is after the vision, right?
Hmm.
And he's throwing all his magic at her, and she says about his magic hitting her, quote, the only reaction at all was a soft glow and a deep prickling over my skin, a sensation that was once, or sorry, a sensation that was at once ice and fire, frost and flame.
Hmm.
Dun dun dun. I keep telling you, this ice and fire, this cold and hot, this frost and flame.
Yeah, you're gonna have another tick on the Leslie was right.
I hope so. I mean, I don't know what it means yet, but it means something. I know that.
Yeah.
I know that part. I,
So then in chapter 43, so she finally realizes after feeling this, like, she's basically, I'm assuming, like absorbing his magic and his power. It's not affecting her.
yeah, I think
And
she even says that she feels that she
yeah,
might be absorbing it. Yeah.
yes. So then she says, quote, the magic doesn't answer to you. It's part of you. Be proud of who you are and embrace it, which is something that Luther had already told her. But she remembers it at this point. She says, I did not need to surrender to my power in helpless submission, nor did I need to beg it to come to save me. All this time I had been waiting for the godhood to embrace me, when what I really needed to do was embrace myself. Just as I cherished the humanity and love that my mortal family had instilled in me, so too could I wield my immortality, my magic, and my crown with pride. Both halves were necessary to make me whole, and I would not succeed in this I would not succeed in this war without accepting them both. So again in chapter 43, she then says, the true measure of strength is not in the lives we take, but in the lives we save. Ron Gislaine, I spare your life today. Take your second chance and use it wisely. Do not make me regret my mercy. So this is after Ron realizes he's done for.
Yeah.
She's gonna kill him.
Yep.
And he's basically surrendering. Well, kind
In
of.
theory.
Yeah.
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 He's a bag of shit. So
He is, yeah. Mm.
chapter 44, we are moving back over onto the island.
Mm-hmm.
And Dee is walking up to the temple, right? And describing it, she says, quote, my eyes roved over the elaborate architecture. couple more things. And then she says, something hovered at the edge of my memory, something familiar, something important, but just out of reach.
Mhm.
I'm thinking she's been here before. And I will wrap this up in
Mm.
my thoughts and theories here shortly.
Okay.
Okay. So we didn't do a whole bunch of notes for the epilogue. Kind of both of us were just kind of like, wait, what? So let's talk about the epilogue real quick.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
so
What'd you pick and she was out of there?
I mean, mom is Luther finds her
Yep. Because this is all POV of Ariel again.
orally, yeah.
Or Alita, yeah.
And so Luther finds her, and it's so one of the things that stuck out to me, because at one point Diem is walking up to the temple by herself. She kind of strays from the path a little bit because she hears some rustling in the weeds and whatnot in the foliage. And she's like, is someone there? Who's there? And so she's talking. It was her mom, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what we're
Yeah.
gonna, it's a
Or
pretty
her,
good
it was,
guess.
yeah, or it was when Luther's like trying to get Arlie to be quiet or whatever.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
they're kind of fighting. Well, so what stood out to me there, I was like, girl, do you not recognize your daughter's voice? Because she
Uh-huh.
still doesn't know. That was something that stuck out to me big time.
Yeah. She
Orally
didn't
did
know.
not know. So it
The
was not in
plan was
her
that
plan.
Luther
It
was going to
was.
be crowned king or
Yep.
whatever.
Yep. It was
And
not Diem. She was getting more flame root powder and whatnot so that she could keep her
for a
daughter
decade,
hidden. Yeah.
she had enough for 10 years for her daughter.
Yeah.
And that was just the supply in her satchel.
Yes. Yeah. And so I'm like, did you not recognize your daughter's voice? I can pick my kids out
Oh,
in
yeah.
a crowd if they're
I hear
calling for me.
mom, like I'm listening, but I'm going to tell you which one of if it was my kid or not
Yes.
that said mom.
That was just like, I was like, really? You don't recognize your daughter's voice? That your
Uh-huh.
daughter's here? And she doesn't realize it till the very last minute. So
Uh-huh.
that stood out to me.
Yeah.
But then mom goes to light this bomb that's going to, she gets away from Luther and she goes to light this bomb that's supposedly supposed to obliterate all of the crowns at
All of the
once.
crowns. But see, this is what I'm okay. So this is what I'm thinking. I think the Guardians know that if they blow up, because they said something about how the temple they believed is the descendants, where the descended magic comes from.
Yep.
I think the Guardians figured this out, and that's why they were going to blow up the temple and
Yeah.
the crowns that went with it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then
And
Vance shows up.
Vance showing up.
Ugh.
Okay. So do you want to hear some more of my theory?
Yeah. Go for it.
Okay, so I think it was in like the chapter like 44 or something like that. She's talking with DM's talking with Luther, right? Before she's gonna go. And she was saying about how she wanted him to like check the boat and stuff like that. And Luther's like,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to worry about it. Like it's fine. Like there's no need to check for it. Maybe I'll check the boat out while you're gone, kind of thing. But it'll be fine. Like maybe they did sneak people on the boat, the Guardians. Like, how big is this damn boat? First off, like I was
Mm-hmm.
thinking like a dinghy, but
Yeah.
but apparently this is a bigger boat. And like, what if, they had all these rebels there? Maybe these rebels that knew they were going here and they're not actually in Arbros or wherever else. And they're actually
Oh.
going to this mission to get
Oh.
all this flame root powder and knew they were going to blow up this thing because obviously it's happened before, right? They had mortals on there before because it's part of the blood war. They fought
Mm-hmm.
over this spot because I'm sitting here with my hands. I'm so sorry. I'm talking with my hands
Oh,
and
I get
nobody
it
can see my hands, but
too.
so Vance is there and he's like, there's something we have to tell you. Not like a, hey, that's your daughter up there, dumbass. No, it's just, hey, there's something we need to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck?
Right? I agree.
But yeah, I think they stowed in on the boat
And how
and
did
they
Luther
had it
miss
planned
it?
because he kept saying like there's nothing to worry about. There's nothing to worry about because Luther doesn't know that she let them go see the boat because she
Yeah.
didn't tell him. He also does not know that she's associated with the Guardians yet because that's like something she says like as she's walking away from him to go up to the temple or whatever by
Mm-hmm.
herself. She's like, "Oh, I'm glad we have this like honesty now, but oh, I need to tell him about the Guardians. Oh, I guess I'll just tell him about the Guardians when I come back."
Yeah.
No, your moment would have been right then and there, girlfriend. And this may
Oh,
not have happened the way it happened because
yes.
then he would have been like, oh, interesting. Wait, you let him see the boat? You're right. Maybe I should check out this damn boat. This probably has a whole bunch of people on it. Because guess what? He goes and he finds Orly, right? That
Mm-hmm.
boat is left unattended before all this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh-huh. I'm
I'm
just
I'm with
saying.
you on that.
I,
I'm with you. I didn't
I
think
don't mean to be
about.
arguing, but like you said, you wanted to argue about how the letter was nothing.
Yeah, tell me about the letter.
So this letter, Henry writes, "Good luck tomorrow." If he's an Arboros, this letter is not getting there the same day because he's the damn mail guy. I'll see you soon. Remember, whatever it may look like, we are on the same side. Because mind you, they haven't broken up yet.
Mm-hmm.
Henry's still off in his own little world of like, oh, she loves me and she's going to do whatever I want. And she's doing all these things for me. Okay.
Mm.
I think the Guardians are there. I think Henry's there. I think Lana's there. And they have this planned that they are now restarting a blood war
Mm-hmm.
because they're going to blow up the damn temple and all the crowns. And they are going to basically rid all the descendant of their magic and then they can take them all out just like they want to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But also, like, it kind of made me wonder about the flame root powder if you're right about, or at least giving it to all the kids, or is
Mm-hmm.
it to help maybe not necessarily kill the descendant, but what is it like take away their magic for if it doesn't work?
Yeah. Mute it. Uh-huh.
Hmm.
You're right. I didn't give two thoughts to the letter other than like Henry's being a coward.
Yeah. And then she just throws it away like junk mail. And you're like, well, yeah, it is junk mail.
It
I'm like, wait,
is.
what? Hold on, pause. We didn't talk about this first. And now I'm surprised we weren't on the same like thought process with that. And that like shocked me.
Yeah, no. No, it's like, dude, he's just being a coward. Like, I'll see
Yeah.
you later. I don't want to witness you getting your ass kicked. So, later,
Yeah.
dude.
But see, like the thing is we don't know he's an Arboros
Mm-hmm.
or that he's gone to art because I want to say his dad said he even like he had left like a day or two before that.
Yeah.
So like that doesn't make sense. And he says, see you tomorrow. So obviously that was written
Oh.
to be given to her that day.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yep, missed that.
Mhm. I'm just saying, book 3 better open up and there was screaming and bombs going off and it was complete madness and it was battle from the start. That's what it better start off as.
Mm.
And the Umbros Queen is just going to be sitting there smiling. And then the old King of Mortos is just going to be sitting there like, what the fuck is going on? But I know what's going on, but like not because I'm old.
Yeah.
And he
Well,
like
and
sees into the future or whatever.
my mom, not to give any spoilers, but my mom has already finished all three books,
Right.
and she knows not to give me any spoilers, but she did mention, she was like, book three is insane, the amount of conflict that is happening. She's like, it's
Thank goodness.
insanity. So I think we're gonna get like a
Thank-
1,000+ pages of just craziness coming up.
Okay, cool. So just you go first.
Okay. So first of all, which we kind of talked about this already, but Luther says how like he doesn't trust Arlie anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And he says something along the lines of because like when DM says that her mom had been giving her the flame root, he didn't know that, it appears. And he's
Right.
like,
Yeah.
"Oh my gosh, this makes so much sense." And he gets really irritated, really mad. And then he says, like, your mom has so much to answer for. I am so done with keeping her secrets. She has so
Uh-huh.
many things to answer for. That was a rough quote, but um yeah, okay. So my theory now, especially after seeing this, definitely Orally is the leader of the Guardians. They talk about how the leader of the Guardians, the Tree Club, is a woman, a force to be reckoned with. You were saying, I think, I can't remember which episode we talked about this, but you were saying how you don't think that she's that good, that maybe she could be bad. And I've been getting the
Yeah.
same feeling. Now, after
Mm-hmm.
reading this epilogue, I agree with you. I don't
Mm-hmm.
think Oralee is on the up and up. I
I
think
don't
she's
think so
actually a
either.
little more like Henry,
I think so
where
too.
she's the leader of the Guardians and she is so blinded by her hate for the Descended that she's willing to do whatever to kill them. And so I'm curious to see how things are going to play out with her, especially once they become truly reunited.
Yeah. Which is hopefully here shortly because if they still don't get reunited, I'm gonna riot.
Yeah. Okay. And then just a little side theory on how right before the challenging, she's talking to Saray and she's like, "I'm so sorry that I wasn't able to find a way to free you from your bonds, but I promise if I make it out of this, I'm going to do everything I can to figure out how to do that."
Mm-hmm.
If, like, free her from her loyalty, give her back her free will. So I think she is going to eventually figure out how to do that and to free Saray from her free will or free her so she has free will, but she's still going to remain loyal to Diem because they have a bond. They have a true bond, I think, outside of Crown and Gryvern. And Dee also has this way with animals. I'm wondering, I have a theory that she's obviously special, right? She's not just a Lumnos descendant. She's got
Yeah.
something more to her. We know
Mm-hmm.
that at this point.
Mm-hmm.
She was able to talk to her horse. Like,
Yeah.
right? She was able to speak
Basically
to
speak
the
to it.
horse.
Yeah. And
It's not truly confirmed, but they definitely allude to
yeah, it
that
was
that she was
I'm
able
not gonna
to.
make you right, or I'm not gonna make you give me a ride, but
But it's your
you can
choice.
choose. Yeah.
And the horse was really like irate and kind of antsy and whatnot, and then she calms it by speaking to it. So, and then when she's on the island, she makes a little mention about how she picks the flame root flower, and she's like, "Oh, I wonder what, if these flowers could talk, what could they say?" Again, rough quote. But then the Queen of Arboros mentions like, "Well, maybe you were more suited for our realm than Lumnos because it seems like you can sense the nature or whatever."
Yeah.
And the Queen of Sophos talks about how she, or not Sophos, Phanos speaks of how she can communicate with all living creatures.
Yeah.
Even Soray, she's able to talk to Soray.
Yep.
So I think that Diem is going to eventually show us that she can actually access the magic of each realm, that she has little bits of each one in her.
Oh, I
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
That's a good one.
And then I have got to put this in here, the Godstone, the sparkling
Uh-huh.
onyx colored stone that's around the remnants of her home, her childhood home after she explodes. Then there's like when they
Uh-huh.
go to the funeral, they talk about how there's all this onyx colored
Glittering
stone,
rocks. Yeah.
yes, all around
Uh-huh.
where she exploded. We never know. We just know that the Godstone is only made by the kindred.
Mm-hmm.
The Godstone is a glittering onyx colored stone.
Uh-huh.
And then it's all like it all disappears when she goes back, when Saray takes her back after she looks at the compass. She
Mm-hmm.
can make Godstone.
Uh-huh.
Her powers, her explosion, her
Okay,
whatever
I do
creates
have a
Godstone.
question for you real quick because
Okay,
we're on
cool.
the same page there.
Okay.
Okay, so that's where we find Luther's sword, right? Like it's
Yep.
there, but that's when all the Godstone or whatever we're saying it's Godstone is picked up.
Yep.
Did Luther pick it all up? Does
I think
Luther have it
so.
all?
That's my thought on
That's
it.
that's that's my thought too. That's
But
what I'm
why?
hoping. My other thought was Vance picked it all up.
Oh.
He came back and picked it all up
Okay,
because
so I'm thinking
he
if
was looking
Luther.
around while
Yeah.
Henry and her were talking
Yeah,
quietly at the
because what was
funeral,
the point of him being there at the
other than being
funeral?
a dick.
Right. Right.
Uh-huh. I'm just saying.
Okay, so if Luther picked it all up, I'm gonna guess that he's stockpiling it because he knows war is coming. And
Yeah.
that's the only thing that can kill them. If Vance picked it up, same thing. He's stockpiling it because it can
Yep.
kill them.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we'll find out
Yeah.
who picked it. I'm sure we're going to. I hope so.
We better.
Yeah.
Or I will riot. I'm gonna riot a lot, apparently.
Yeah.
I'm gonna burn this down.
And then I think my only last theory, and I know you're going to have tons of theories, so I'm going to like leave it at this. This is my last one. I kind of think maybe Remus or Remus's associates of some sort are the ones that maybe killed Dad because he makes that comment
Oh,
to Luther. I don't remember exactly when. It's like, oh, it's when they get into an argument. Um, when Remus gets really, it's after one of the house. I think it's after House Hanover, after they have their little meeting, and then they leave, and Remus gets all frustrated with.
oh yeah. Before like he strips him of all his titles and stuff.
Yes, yeah, this is
Okay.
before. So like Luther's still there in that meeting. Oh, it's after. Yeah, it is that one because that's no, it's not. Sorry, I'm going back and forth. It's
No, you're
after
good.
the meeting with House Burnham when they find out that Lily is betrothed to Roderick. Luther freaks out, loses
Oh,
his
okay.
mind.
Okay. Yeah.
They leave, and like DM's like, no, she's not going to marry him unless she chooses to.
Hmm.
And Remus loses it on DM and actually like steps forward in aggression, like he's going to attack her. And Luther steps in front of them, draws the house or the sword of Courbois, and confronts him about it. And then Remus is like, "How dare you draw that sword on me? That's only meant to defend the house of Courbois." And
Mm.
then he says to DM, Remus says to DM, maybe if you had appointed a better or had a better general of the guards or whatever general of the army, whatever his
Yeah.
Luther's title is in that moment, maybe your father would still be alive.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. That just stood out to me. I was like,
That's
maybe it
yeah,
was
that's true. I hadn't thought
Remus.
about that. Yeah.
Maybe it was Remus. That was actually my one question for you was do you think it was Remus now after knowing that that killed Dad?
Maybe.
I think it may have been.
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
obviously does not like
honestly.
the half breeds. Still makes me wonder why he let his own son live, but he did try. He didn't exactly try to kill him initially. He tried to kill his mom.
Yeah.
Luther stepped in the way and he
But
was
I think the
okay with
only
killing
reason he
him.
didn't try to kill him is because he had that vision or whatever from Lunos that he would have the most powerful son.
Yes. Yes, I
And he
think
could
you're
use
right.
that to his advantage because
I
he's a
think you're
power
right.
hungry asshole. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's the end of my thoughts and theories. Not a whole lot. I've learned that I'm not
No,
good
like
at the
some
end of the
good,
book.
good stuff. And I'm with you there. And a couple of things I didn't pick up on. So I'm with you.
Okay. Tell me yours.
Okay, well, you kind of already know, but so this is a thought that had come to me before I'd even started reading this last section. Okay. I'm sitting in my living room. It's the morning after we recorded our last episode. So I haven't even started reading this yet, right? And I'm folding laundry and it literally smacks me in the face, this idea. Okay. And I text Jess something like, hold the phone, hold the damn phone, like in
All in caps.
all caps. This entire text message is in caps.
Yep.
She's probably doing something important. And I'm just like, hold the damn phone. She's like, what did I do? Anyway, hold the damn phone. Right. And then I tell her this theory I have. So please enjoy my thoughts and theories. You ready for this?
Ready.
The book never says Orly was pregnant with DM,
Yup.
just that the last time she was there, she had a newborn with her. If
Mm-hmm.
Orly is mortal, which is what we're pretty sure of at this point, then DM could only be half if she's actually Orly's daughter. But we are fairly certain DM is kindred.
Mm-hmm.
There's way too many notes to that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Her gray eyes are mentioned over and over, and we know that Luminos had gray eyes. Um, she's called the child of the forgotten,
Mm-hmm.
many times. So what if just fly with me here? What if she is full kindred, which she could be, and
Mm-hmm.
what if she was left behind on that island to do exactly what happened at the end of this book? What the Umbros Queen has prophesied at the beginning of book one, and what the King Ulthar said as he's dying. They told me you would come. What if she was forgotten and left behind to destroy this world? But Orly took her and hid her. possibly knowing what she was. Maybe why she was never allowed into the palace or around the descended, so that she would never learn who she truly is.
And the flame
What
root
if,
powder.
and all the flame root powder? What if the man in her vision during the challenging, this gray eyed, what was it, lit up like the moon or something like that man?
Just everything, gray hair, gray eyes, everything
Mm-hmm.
gray.
Mm-hmm. What if this is her kindred father
Oh
and
boy.
he wants her to destroy this world with him, like he says, remember?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. I'm so set on all of this, and I could literally go on all night, but I won't. But that is my theory. I think that is her sire. I'm wondering if that female voice that keeps calling to her is Luminos. But yeah, that's kind of my main thing, is that Orly knew that she was kindred and took her. And
Oh,
maybe whoever she killed down in I'm just going to call it a dungeon,
yep.
on the kindred island, was whoever was supposed to be, whoever or whatever was supposed to be guarding her,
Like guarding her.
guarding
Yeah.
Diem.
Yeah.
And that's why she didn't want her to know who she was. She didn't want her to know anything. She didn't want her anywhere near the palace, like all this stuff, so nobody could figure out who she was.
Yeah.
Okay. And then like Luther's vision of her having a different crown than she has.
Mm-hmm.
And then the king of, what is it, Montios or whatever. It was very interesting about how he's frowning because he's looking at her wrist, her arm, right? Folding it over back and forth. So apparently there should be something there, right? He's trying
Yeah.
to see something, read something, whatever, and he's kind of frowning because it's not there. And then also looks up to her crown and is also, his frown is deepening, right? So maybe he also knows about this other crown.
Mm-hmm.
The Umbros queen is completely calm through this entire part.
Yeah.
That's like she maybe can see whatever. She knows what's going on. Who
Well,
knows?
she knows who her real father is. She made
Uh-huh.
that clear in book 1.
Mm-hmm. So that's kind of my big old thing. And that's why I also agree with you that Orally is not good. I don't think she is. I think she took, maybe with technically good intentions,
Yeah.
but I I think Orally took Diem as a little baby.
I think I
Um,
like this theory.
yes, I know.
Yeah.
And moving on in this series, we're moving to war. We better be moving to war. As I
Yeah, I'm
said
sure.
many times, I will riot if we get back to court drama. I will lose
Yeah.
my shit. So fucking finally, we are moving on to war. And I feel like we're going to ultimately try to take down the kindred or any descended that don't want to all live happily ever after and sing kumbaya around a campfire. Um, this book for me was still only a 3 star. And it was barely a 3. Once again, I was only excited in the last couple of chapters, but I am more hopeful that the next book will be way more interesting. Fingers crossed, because that is a lot of pages I've committed to that I am not allowed to DNF. And then also, I didn't put this in my thoughts and theories, but when you mentioned it, I forgot that this is another one of my theories. So you mentioned like the soiree or something like that.
Mhm.
And I think that the Gryverns are like, they're cursed by the kindred to be slaves to a
Yeah.
Marion. Yep. I don't think it has to be that. I don't think it was that they are there to protect them or something like that. I think they are
That's
these
just what they were born
creatures.
for necessarily.
Yep. These are creatures that are now cursed to be there. And that's why Saray was very, what was it, either emotional or excited or something about that, is when Dean was like, I will find a way to free you or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep, I
So
agree with you. I agree with you. I would actually put this one, for me, this one was, I would actually put it up there with like a 4 stars. I thoroughly
really.
enjoyed this whole book.
Oh, did you? Well,
I
I'm
I don't
glad.
usually love the political stuff and whatnot, but I don't know, something about this one, I actually really liked it. It was exciting to me from beginning to end.
Good. I'm glad. I'm glad.
Yeah, I was a 4 star for this one.
Okay. That's fair. We can totally disagree. That's totally fine.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Totally fine. All right, let's get into jaw to counter.
Yes, our
We had
counters.
26 in the previous chunks of this book, plus 14 in this chapter chunk, making a total of 40 in this freaking book.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I hate just anything that has to do with jaw clenching, ticking, whatever. It's used so much, it drives me nuts. So now I'm hoping I can make a point with all of you that it's 40 in this book, and we can go back later and figure it all out for the whole series, but 40
Yeah.
in this book.
Well then, okay, so growling count. Again, I was bad and did not actually count. So thanks to Leslie, we know that there was 17 previously plus 13 in this section, making it
Uh-huh.
a total for 30 in this book
Yeah. And I guess I never really realized how much growling there were
is
in
used.
books too. Yeah. Until I started counting and I was like, oh man.
Okay, and
Ugh.
then our cry counter, I'll start on this one because I was a half for the last section because the whole interaction between her and her dad kind of got me in the feelers.
Yep.
Nothing spilled over, but there were tears in my eyes. Yet again,
Oh
in this
no.
one, I have another half. We'll have another
Oh my
half. Did
goodness.
not spill over, but they were there. Her interaction with Teller in at their family's house after she uses the compass and she goes and she's just like totally down in the dumps. It's her low moment. And Teller just picks her up and is like, you've got to fight. You're a
Oh.
Bellator. You've got to fight. I know you. You can do this, but you need to suck it up, basically. And I can tell you, I mean, the one with her dad got me because I have a truly wonderful father and I could just feel it. And this
Oh.
one got me because I have 3 younger siblings that
Yeah.
I'm very, very close with all 3 of my younger siblings, 2 of whom are my little brothers. I cherish my relationship with my little brothers and my sister. I could just feel the sibling love. Like, the only person that was gonna pull her out of this was her brother. So, I am up to a full 1 now on the cry counter. Half for the last section, half for this section.
Nice. Nice.
What about you?
I'm still at a 0.
Okay.
All right. Well, I think this episode's long enough. And holy smokes, can you believe we are already through our first 2 books with our podcast?
I know, this is exciting.
This is super exciting. So, next episode, we'll be starting Heat of the Everflame by Penn Cole, book 3 in the Kindred Curse series.
This is a 3-part book, but we'll be separating it into 4 parts just for easier discussion.
Yeah.
Our part 1 next week will be discussing chapters 1 through 19.
So make sure you read that section, our section, before coming back. If you are enjoying reading along with us or just enjoying our conversations and theories, be sure to like this video and hit subscribe on your way out.
And until next time.
It's getting hot out there, so fill your
Yes.
drinks with ice.
And your books with spice.
Bye.
Bye.